Well, good morning, everybody. We're really glad to have you. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to let Melody Cooper give our welcome this morning. She is our policy advisor for the Office of Special Education and Early Learning. Unfortunately, Greta couldn't be with us this morning.
Yes, good morning. And Greta did ask me to send her regards. She hated not being able to join you. She's dealing with some health issues of a family member, so she needed to be away. So we'll all be thinking of her. But I'm really glad to be here with you this morning. I welcome everybody. I'm glad to see you. I know it's an exciting day, especially for this group with the proclamation that's going to take place a little bit later at the Capitol. So that's really fun. I can't wait to hear all about that. I think we'll be getting started here. Of course, the State Advisory Council for Gifted and Talented Education has been created and attached to the Kentucky Department of Education. The council's purpose is to make recommendations regarding the provision of services for gifted and talented students in Kentucky's education system. So welcome, and I'm glad to be here with you.
Thank you so much. All right, so we're still admitting people. We've got a few people that are joining us here. So let us get those people admitted. Good morning, everybody. Glad to have you. We're having a few other people join us, so we're sure we add them to our roll this morning. All right, so we're going to let Misty Green review our meeting norms and duties. Good morning. Members must speak when called on for roll call or any voting. Reminder to stay focused on the topic agenda at hand for the sake of time. Additional feedback is provided through the meeting exit slip. The secretary will take notes, and Misty stores and manages documents. And this meeting is being recorded. Also, let the cameras. And please leave your cameras on during the meeting. Thank you. Right. So next, Dr. Roberts will call the roll, and Lindsay's going to take note attendance in the minutes.
I would be happy to welcome two new members to the Advisory Council. Walters Parker, I'm happy to have you back. I remember when you were here and the good things we did together, so welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be back.
And Abby Wheaton is here from Union County, and I'm delighted that you're here on the advisory board. So
Thank you.
I shall call roll and answer. Present. Carrie Ballinger.
Present.
Shantitra Bradford. Lindsay Burton.
Present.
Kim Code.
Present.
Randy Corbin. Pauline Covington. Mason Dyer. Oh, Pauline's here. Good. Hannah England. Luann Flanagan.
Present.
Hang on just a second, Dr. Roberts. I think Hannah's here. Hannah England, are you here? I thought I saw you. She asked to be admitted.
Jessica Green. Kurt Haynes. Jessica Hastings. Philip Cash. Jean Lee. Tiffany Marshall. Brenda Martin. Kim Walters Parker. I know you're here. Timothy Travis. I believe that concludes calling roll.
Trinity Walsh.
Trinity Walsh.
and Abigail Wheaton.
I call
I'm
it.
here.
And then also, I think we skipped Mason Dyer.
Did I skip you, Mason?
No, but somebody chimed in over me. I'm here.
Okay, I see. you.
All right, not that nice. Okay, so let's see if we have a quorum. We have a quorum. We have 10. Woo! Right. So, we sent out the minutes ahead, and I hope you had a chance to peruse those. Lindsay's going to ask the members to review, and any notes will be added. So Lindsay, go ahead and just do what you need to do.
Yes, if you all just want to look those over, if you haven't already, and let me know if there's anything that needs to be changed or updated, and then we can approve. If not,
Okay, sounds good.
Lindsay, I make a motion to approve the minutes. This is
Second.
Carrie Ballinger.
okay.
And then Luann seconded it.
Luann, okay.
I'd just like to say, Luann is also, she joined us last meeting. And so we're glad to have you, Luann. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. So I guess we take a vote to approve the minutes or not approve the minutes. We've got a motion, so now we do the approval.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? I believe we'll accept the minutes as presented.
We need to make a little change to the agenda today. And so we need for Melody Cooper to give her part of the meeting today, which is about the SACGTE priorities and recommendations. She needs to go before me today. So could I have a motion to change the agenda today?
I make a motion to accept the agenda with flexibility.
Okay,
Pauline Covington seconds the motion.
okay, thank you.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
This-
Aye.
We can do that. You're on.
All right, could you pull up my
Yeah.
slides there?
Just.
Don't have much, but, so thank you for that, Kathy. And thank you for being flexible with my schedule, everybody. So I am glad to be here. And, when, we talked about this, I've, gotten to see some of your priorities and recommendations and things like that. And I know there are a couple of newer members. So I did just want to go over the fact that in, the statute, KRS 158, that's 648. Boy, that's far away from my glasses. It does outline that the council's responsibilities, much like I said when I opened the meeting with the welcome, are to serve in an advisory capacity, relate on issues relating to gifted and talented education in Kentucky. So I do understand, and I think there was one more slide there. I'm not going to read all of that to you. But so Serpent Advisory Council, through our office attached to the Office of Special Education and Early Learning, to the Commissioner of Education, the Board of Education. I know that other things that we do, KDE will come to you if there are regulations that we're proposing to put forward that would impact gifted and talented education. That would be our responsibility to bring that to you for your input as well. So I just wanted to go over those responsibilities before getting into the recommendations. So I know, and I don't have all of those in front of me, but I know there was one that we talked about regarding the funding. That's been a consistent issue. Yes, that'll be helpful. Thank you, Kathy. It is not serving me well for having the things in front of me. Thank you. Okay. When I tried to pull that up here in front of me just now, it didn't pop up. So there was one with the funding being a consistent issue over the years. And I know there had been an increase a couple of years ago, which was good news. But that was still something that's a concern of the advisory council. So that is, one of the recommendations was about bringing forward an ADR or an additional budget request to the Board of Education. So our office, it's early in the process, yet also the process has been shifted up quite a bit. We've learned through feedback from the legislature, actually, that it helps when we can get all those priorities wrapped up a lot quicker and over to them as they start planning so early. So we're working now with the Office of Finance and Operations to try to put together an ADR, an additional budget request. I can't give a lot of details now because we don't have that hammered out just yet, but that is something that we're looking at with them to take before the board at the next board meeting. And so what happens to it from there, will then be with the board to prioritize the different ADRs that they receive from the agency and send that over to the General Assembly.
So one will go forward recommending an increase.
We're working on that with the Office of Finance and Operations. So I foresee that, but it's part of the process with the different agency priorities. It just that final decision won't probably land with our office, but that's what we're working on right now, trying to get that forward.
I'll cheer for that.
Okay. And so I think that was the only thing that I had to share based on the recommendations for right now. I know there were a couple of others as well, but right now that was the news that I could share about the possible ADR that will move forward. Are there any questions?
Doesn't look like there's any questions. I'm looking in the chat here. Don't see any chat either. Okay. Well, thank you so much for giving us that message, Melody. And thank you for joining us today. I know that you've got other meetings you've got to attend to in a little bit, so feel free.
I appreciate you asking me to join. And if anything comes up, just, feel free to reach out and let me know if there are any questions that come up, later on when you get to thinking.
We'll do that. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. So we're going to go back to the state gifted education update. So let me give me a couple of seconds here just to go back to that. Right. So for those of you who are new, I'm Kathy Anderson. I'm the gifted education program consultant here at the Department of Education. And in my work, I wanted to give you kind of an update about what's going on in the state as far as gifted education. So I'm going to talk about the Gifted Education Proclamation, which is today, and also about the Advisory Council vacancies, and also talk to you a little bit about the school report card, which was recently released for public consumption. So today, February is Gifted Education Month, if you didn't know, in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, which is really exciting. And so to kick off the month, there's going to be a Gifted Education Proclamation ceremony at the Capitol Rotunda here in Frankfort at noon. And Governor Andy Beshear, go back, and our commissioner of my office, the Office of Special Education and Early Learning, Retta Hilton, have been invited to speak. And there will be students from Gatton and Craft Academies who will also speak and perform. So everybody's invited to attend. It's a really wonderful opportunity. Teachers and coordinators and students from all over the Commonwealth come for the proclamation. So I'm really excited to go over myself this afternoon and be a part of that. Also, the State Advisory Council for Gifted and Talented Education. We have several vacancies on our council. So if y'all know of anyone who might be interested, please, we'll send out this PowerPoint, or I can maybe put it over in the chat here in a second. what you want to do is you want to complete the application form that's on the governor's boards and commissioners website. And you can either do that digitally or you can do it through a hard copy form that's on that webpage. And then you also, along with that process, you submit a resume to Michaela Weaver. And you can either send her an email or you can call. So that information is here on the slide. And these slides will be a part of our Google folder, which Misty will put in there, and then she'll make sure everybody has access to that. So our vacancies for the role groups, we have a parent of gifted and talented. We have principals that we need. We have a private business sector person that we need. And we also have a local Board of Education person. So please help us fill those vacancies. That would be great. All right, so as I said earlier, the Kentucky School Report Card came out recently. And in this report card is Kentucky GT student data. The data is reported for the state, as well as for districts, as well as schools. So you can really have different levels that you can look at to find out more about what's going on in the state as far as GT student data, and also for your district or school that maybe you participate in. So I wanted to show you a little bit about how you can find that information. It's kind of like being a detective or a pirate captain as you look for treasure, maybe. So this is, let me see, can y'all see that? I don't think you can see that, can you? All right, so let me just switch gears here. Give me just a second to switch gears. Take a minute to come up on your screen there. All right, so this is the landing page to the Kentucky School Report Card Suite. This is the dashboard for 2023, 2024. The data always lags behind a year because we have to go through a process of vetting that data and making sure that it's correct for public consumption. So as you can see here, you can browse either for your school or for your district or for the state. So I'm just going to click on Kentucky here. And this information will be shown as either a table or as like a bar graph. So let me come up a little bit. And on this page, you can see the just kind of a Kentucky overview of rating. Gifted education, the student data education is over here on the left-hand side underneath educational opportunity. And then there's a arrow. So I'm going to click the arrow. And as you can see, you've got advanced coursework or you've got gifted and talented. So I'm going to click gifted and talented to go into that more. You can see from this little circle graph, just an overview. So in our state, we've got 86% students identified for the gifted and talented program, 14% who are not. But then you can dive a little deeper into that by clicking on the bar over here and click gifted and talented. And that will load to another web page. And as I said before, you can look at it as trend data or as a table. So if you look at it as trend data, it lets you look at 3 years of data there. And it looks like we've been about the same for the past several years at about 13.7, and we went up to 13.8. Now we're at 14% in our state as compared to the entire population of gifted, entire population of students, excuse me. You can also look at that in a table if you want to. So I clicked the words that said table and it hyperlinks to this table. It lets you look at all students. So currently or last year we had 88,706 students. That includes primary talent pool. And I know we've asked for that information to be desegregated, so we're going to continue to ask for that information to be desegregated. It also desegregates the information into gender, ethnicities, and special populations. And then if you take the bar at the bottom, you go over and look at grades, kindergarten through 12th grade, and look at those numbers for the total as well as for those different special populations. Then you can slide down and we can look at gifted and talented participation by category. And you can also do that by grade level or, by gender, race, or different programs here. So just say we look at all students, we're looking at the trend data there. And then if we want, we can look at the table, which will give us that information by these special groups. Looking for how we can look at the categories. So as you can see, when I click on all students, I can come and look at how many students are in the state for creativity or for general intellectual ability, or primary talent pool. And something to note, is primary talent pool is a part of our program, but these students are informally selected. So it kind of inflates the numbers a little bit for the gifted program because they are not formally selected and don't have to have a gifted student service plan. So we're looking at all students in the primary talent pool here. So we've got 25,743 students. And you can look at that through gender, again, ethnicity, or special populations. So that is the gifted student data. There is other data for gifted and talented students and some of these other, what would we call this? Different categories over here on the left-hand side. And again, if you'd like to search by school or district, you can do that by just typing in, the school name or the district name there, if you wanted to. Also, let me just go over here to the main page, the overview. There's also supplemental data. There's data sets that you can look at, and that's underneath here, underneath research data, or you can go to the KDE homepage, and underneath open house, there are data sets there that are in like spreadsheets. So if you were ever wanting to do some sort of a research or whatever, it gives it to you in a format that's easily searchable, filterable, that type of thing. So I hope that's helpful for you to know where some of the gifted and talented student data is located and how to get to it. Do you have any questions or comments or anything like that? So if not, I'm going to stop sharing that and go back to the PowerPoint then. All right, so next on our agenda, Dr. Roberts is going to talk about opportunities for advanced learners.
Okay, I think that's something that each of us is interested in. I hope you've heard that House Bill 190, HB 190, has been put forth in the legislature. North Carolina was the first state to have such legislation. And what it does is require that students that score for us, it would be at proficient or advanced. In North Carolina, it was scoring at advanced levels, would automatically be placed into advanced coursework. And so you would have to opt out rather than opt in to such coursework. North Carolina has seen a tremendous increase in the number of students who are participating in advanced coursework. And you can picture that some of those students are ones whose parents might not have been involved enough to opt in for their students And consequently, the students have higher opportunities than they would otherwise. So House Bill 190 for Kentucky would look at grades 3 through 12. So it would mean that if your elementary, middle school students need more advanced coursework, they would have it in their school. And what House Bill 190 does would require districts to establish policy that would put this forward, starting with math and then expanding to other areas. Forbes magazine had a wonderful article about House Bill 190 this week. I can't tell you how surprised I was to see that and how absolutely delighted. And we can certainly send the link out to that article. I guess maybe I'd like to respond to questions that you have. I was over at the Capitol yesterday talking with folks about this legislation.
Dr. Roberts, this is Carrie Ballinger from Rockcastle County Schools. Do we know at this point if there's any funding attached to this bill?
Well, of course, this is not a funding year in the legislature, and that's why only policy is required. So no, there isn't, but the policy doesn't have to be in place until 2026. So there's a window that we have there. The expenses of implementing this policy are really pretty small. It would not require new teachers unless the district didn't have teachers who could be teaching the kids at a higher level. Elementary, we simply need to be sure that kids aren't heterogeneously grouped so that 2/3 of the kids in the class aren't yet at grade level, because the advanced kids may not be lost if you have a really good teacher, but they could be lost and simply spending the time waiting for the others to catch up. So no, there's no funding at this point. The other thing that might require an expense would be if professional learning opportunities would be needed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Roberts, this is Abby from Union County. I have a question. Does this define what is considered advanced coursework, or would that be up to the district to determine if the class is advanced?
It would be left up to the district. And this started with North Carolina, but Texas is doing it, the state of Washington is doing it, and 4 or 5 other states. So it's not a unique idea to us.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else you'd like to know? Jonathan Plucker at Johns Hopkins has done a lot of work with this particular legislation, specifically in North Carolina. And Jonathan is writing an op-ed that we hope will have out soon, citing the research that backs up what is being proposed. And one of the points in the article that Forbes published was that Kentucky's bringing in all kinds of companies that are requiring our students to be at top levels. And we've got to make sure they're there, not just some of them, but any of them, from Union County or Rockcastle County or wherever they're from. They need those opportunities. And folks, you know, some kids are getting it and some kids aren't at all. And it's those students who don't have advanced opportunities that we need to advocate for to make sure. And this is not just for gifted kids. This is for high potential learners. It is for the kids who are ready for more. And Kentucky, as I mentioned, is looking at those scoring at proficient or above. I haven't seen the new report card. I will. That'll be something I do before the day is out. But overall, we have about 1/3 of our students scoring at proficient or above. And that means 2/3 aren't. That may not be what's in your district, but across the state, that's been what the data were showing us prior to that. I think we can't stand for that we've got to have opportunities so students can be learning what they're ready to learn. We do that really well in sports, right? Well, let's do it in academics. Let's do it in math. Let's do it in language arts. And if you have questions after this meeting, please follow up with me. This is being supported, I hope, broadly, but I'm at the Center for Gifted Studies, and we're certainly behind it. The Pritchard Committee for Academic Excellence is supporting it, as is the Kentucky Association for Gifted Ed. And if you're a part of any other organization that is, let's share the news. I was here yesterday talking to our commissioner about it. So if there are no questions, I've probably shared as much as you want me to share.
Thank you, Dr. Roberts, for sharing that about the HB 190. Next thing on our agenda is closing remarks.
Boy, that's getting to closing remarks pretty quickly.
That's very, 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 very quickly there.
Monday and Tuesday of this week, the Kentucky Association for Gifted Education held its conference in Lexington, and approximately 275 people came. Several of you who I see were there, and so it was a wonderful time to network and to learn from other presenters, from our keynote speakers. It is always good to be together. And one thing that came out of that meeting was that we need to be having more of a parent involvement in advanced learning. So I would encourage you all to talk with parents and make sure they're coming on board, that they know of opportunities that are provided for them that may tap right into an interest that they have, whether it's advanced learning opportunities, what's appropriate for twice exceptional learners, and you fill in the blank. But there are opportunities that CAGE offers, that we offer at the Center for Gifted Studies, that are being offered generally around the state. But an opportunity is not a real opportunity until you know about it. So it's really important that you know about opportunities and that you share information with fellow educators and also with parents.
Dr. Roberts, really appreciate that. Well, the next item and our final item on the agenda today is the exit slip and adjournment.
Okay, just a reminder that you will be receiving your exit slip via email. Please complete that because we take your responses into consideration for our next meeting. At this time, I would like to ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Pauline Covington motions to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Jason Dyer, second. Okay, this meeting is adjourned.